It's weird. Okay, here we go. So this is about the spoken word. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick intro first. And so, fascinating info, great breakdown. What's your Facebook handle, please? And then I'll put it here, right? HTTP Joe Gavin 5686. It's blocked or doesn't exist. Okay, so we'll go to it's blocked or doesn't exist. And here we go. Here, Joe Gavin 5686, right? Now it says account restricted. I've been restricted for 2 years. Now I want to explain the Bible. So the Bible it basically has text, language, chapter, and verse. So text comes from textere and textus, which means to weave. Language comes from langue, which to conceal. Langue, A-E-I-O-U, interchangeable. Right, so langue is right there. So they drop the E and then have age. So langue over time, yeah? And langue is the root of languish. Ish is people. And languish means to slow, right? So chapter is capo, right? CH is K. CH is K, so that's cap. And then ter is earth. So chapter is the head of earth. Verse is there's verse to change, and there's the sea of mankind, and there's verse to change, and then sus means suscrofa, which means pig. Yeah. Okay. Now let's look at it from I'm breaking it down too much. I could go mark the energy on earth, the mark. I could go shepherd's energy, the mind's return, the vessel, the alpha, return the energy of man. And then it's return the helix, alpha, speak, the mark, the energy of man. So you can see it all works out. The Kemetic is like, once you understand the Kemetic, this is basic. So text comes from textile, which is text, which means to weave. Language comes from langue, which means to conceal. Chapter comes from capitis, which means heading. Verse comes from versus, which means to turn and destroy. So the Bible is text, which means to weave. It's got langue and language, which means to conceal. It's got chapter and capitis, which means the head or the heading, the direction. And their job is to enforce the verse on you, which is to turn and destroy. So the Bible is to weave, conceal, and the heading is to destroy, or the direction. The direction, heading and capitis and heading is the mens rea. So mens is the mind, and rea is the direction you're looking in mentally, your outlook on what your plan is. So weave, conceal, direction, they're turning you and to destroy you. So that's what the Bible does. It comes in and they make fear, they put fear in you. We were once warriors. The Celts were the fucking greatest fucking warring tribe in Europe. They were the smallest, and no one fucked with them until Patrizio came in, and all the Irish were like, "Oh, St. Patrick, he's a fucking legend, man." Why? Why is he a legend? Oh, he just is. I don't know why. He just is. Patrizio. I was working with a guy on a construction site, and he's basically, I'm not going off topic, but just giving you an idea. His name is Patrick, and he was always riding me, but in a good way, like the Irish, we fucking niggle each other. And when I left, I said, "Ciao, Patrizio. Ciao, amore." And he goes, "What the fuck you on about, Gavin, you fucking crazy bastard, you?" And I said, Patrick, Patrizio. It's a wog's name, brother. You're a wog. You're named after a wog. Patrick was a Roman agent. St. Patrick was a Roman. It's a trick. Patrick, Patrizio, it's father. The Bible says, "Call no man father." Everyone's going around calling him the father, the saint, the father. Right? So they're breaking the rules of the Bible by calling St. Patrick. And then, anyway, he goes, go here, get out here now. And a couple of the boys heard me saying the word Patrizio. And then about 2 weeks later, he rings me up and he goes, "Jesus Christ, Gavin, if I ever see you on fucking site again, I'll fucking crucify you, bastard. The boys won't stop calling me Patrizio. I'll fucking murder you, I swear to God." And I could hear the pain in his voice. Anyway, I'll get on with the clip. So Patrick comes from Patrizio. So this is just, you put a word in Google. Could be any word, you get, that's the meaning of the word right there. And then you go to Latin English translator. So go to Google, type in Latin English translator, you get English to Latin. Then you put the English word in, you get the Latin word. Then you open up another page, and then you type in Latin English translator again, except this time it's Latin to English, and then you put the translated word in, the word it gave you in the Latin side, and then you get the English word, right? So this is the parent company of YouTube. So if YouTube wants to take it down, they're taking down Google's content, right? So I'm not saying what these words are. I'm not speaking them. I'm just doing a bit of a looky, So we type in architect, right? And you get person who designs buildings and in many cases supervises their construction. Interesting. Architectus. We'll go down here, have a look. And you always expand it down because this is copyright. This is someone's intellectual property, and you can't change it ever. You can't change it. This is the as someone said on I did my beneficiary clip, and I'll see if I can chuck that in. And basically he posted on Odyssey, and the guy said that looks like source code. Prove me wrong. So that the original Latin roots is a source code for a program, and so Freemasonry is the head of the Freemasons here in look up Penrith Freemasons and their lodges, and it says Sovereign Lodge. That means they're a corporation soul corporation. Right? They Freemasons call themselves sovereigns, and so then you go to the Latin, you expand it down and you get French architecte, architecto, architectron. There's architect. There's arch. There's chief. So arch means chief. Tectron means builder. Yeah, sounds like Megatron. Anyway, we'll keep going. So then we go to we're going to go here, and I just typed in William Whitaker's words, and this came up. Does anyone know what happened to William Whitaker's words? The link still works, but the two-way dictionary has been removed. Now you only get transferred to Latin to LatinWords.com, which is only Latin to English. Why would they remove the functions that's been there for 15 years? Because I've been talking about it. Now you're going to say, oh, geez, Joe, that's a big call, you don't really know for sure, so it's just an opinion. My opinions are usually not far off the mark. All right, so I'll give you another example of why they take shit down. All right, so this is section 164 to 186 has been removed. Now, this is a corporate entity with an ABN that was generated after 1986 without a referendum, and this is NSW without periods, so it's NSW phonetically. It's not New South Wales because it doesn't conform to grammatical styles of English, and this is Dog Latin. This is basically a Dog Latin again because it's in a different font. So when you write, it's a certain size and a certain shape and a certain thickness. So that's a handwriting. So when there's another style and font and boldness, it's technically another handwriting. And if one legal document can only have one author, and then you can have witnesses at the bottom with their names and details designating who they are. So this is two legal documents here, two separations, right? And this is a corporate entity that's been created without a referendum. It's got an ABN, generated by the ATO, which is not a legal entity here in Australia. Now, Australia is the Cocos-Keeling Islands, Torres Strait Island, includes Cocos-Keeling Islands, Torres Strait Island, and Norfolk Island, and no other external territories. So even within the fictitious Australia, the ATO is illegal, and we're not in Australia because we're not in Cocos-Keeling Islands, Torres Strait Island, Norfolk Island. We're actually in the tribal lands, and they are the kings, the chiefs, and I call it the Great Southern Ground because land is a ship. Ships land, planes land, so land is the act of setting down. And someone like Deborah Bentley said, we landed a state. We're not, because that's slavery. Slavery's illegal, right? You can only have an indentured slave, and that's fucking by voluntarily entering into slavery for 7 years. But when you leave, you get all your money back, right? And so the slave master gets you planting seeds. You plant seeds, and each seed makes 100 seeds, so he makes 100 folds, right? So you get the value of your effort back. So the corporation entity took away section 164 to 168. Now let's go and have a look at what that might be. We'll go to Criminal Code in Queensland. So that was section 184 of the Crimes Act, fraudulent personation. Now, personating in general. So this is Crimes Code. So they call it Crimes Code instead of Crimes Act. And it's 1899, section 514. So you've got section 184 of the Crimes Act, fraudulent personation, 1900 New South Wales. And then you got section 184, is it 1901? Or, yeah, 1900, sound right. And so you can see here, now this is almost verbatim. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, that's Queensland, Joe, you're not in Queensland. Well, if I go and stand with a bunch of penguins in a geographical location, does that mean I'm a penguin? No, it doesn't. So now you're starting to see the metaphorical construct or the fraud, and I'll thank Glenn Bowley for that one. Any person who, with intent to defraud any person, falsely represents himself or herself to be some other person, living or dead, I love that part, real or fictitious, love that part, is guilty of an offence which, unless otherwise stated, is a misdemeanour, and the person is liable for up to 3 years imprisonment. So when you ask a police officer to identify himself, which he's civilly obliged to do, because he is the military, because in Goulburn they told him they're a paramilitary organisation. When you speak to Long Bay Governor, he'll tell you that they're a paramilitary organisation. So basically, a paramilitary organisation can't be engaged in commerce for profit and gain, which they are, because there's no injured party. So when you injure someone, then that's common law, and then that you've harmed someone, so they've got the right to come in. But they're coming in under statute, which is military law, and it's basically an unconscionable bargain and unconscionable contract, which comes under slavery, which is legal under their moneylender international law, because that's all it is. If the representation is that the offender is a person entitled by will, which is maritime military law, because wills is trust law, and trust is based on the usufruct and the birth certificate, which is by the occupation, by the military, by removing the father, because occu means to block, and occult and occlude mean to block or to hide, and pat means father, yeah? And then you have operation. Opera means to create, right? So it's created, so it's a contract. Law comes from de jure, comes from jure, and jure comes from juris, comes from jus, comes from ius, which means the mind. So law means contract. By operation of a contract to any specific property. Per means die, yeah, perish. Ish means people. Per is die, the dead mark, which is the person, which is the paper. And any person commits the offence with the intent to obtain such property or possession thereof, the person is guilty of a crime and is liable to imprisonment for 14 years. So it goes from a misdemeanour, which is just committing personation or fraudulent personation, to 14 years in jail if they're basically doing it from a public office or from trust law. Right now, the state's main goal is to have everyone die intestate without a will, and then the state comes in as the society and claims the benefit as the trustee. Because the trustee, if the beneficiary and executor die, then because the trust dies with the beneficiary, and then it goes to another party. It's willed from there. So effectively, the police in New South Wales are looking at 14 years in jail, because what they're doing is I'll finish this and I'll talk at the end, right? Okay, so now we've got we'll do the word architect. So we'll do the word architect, and it says architectron, so master builder, chief builder. So we get architect, and it says master builder, designer, maker. Okay, no worries. But it consists of citadel, stronghold, hilltop, Capitoline Hill. So an architect, archi, which means chief, means Capitol Hill. But isn't that America? Architect, the grand architect, Capitol Hill in America. All these words are linked. So internal H may be rendered as archi, yeah? Hark, 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 onto yonder light, all kind of old English speak. But so basically, keep away, protect, is Archie, and it's a citadel, and it's to cover, protect, defend, and hide. So a citadel is to keep away from, it's a stronghold, it's a refuge, and it's to protect and hide. Yeah. So the cities are created. Now, the Westminster Confession of Faith, what the rule book for magistrates clearly says that magistrates have to go to war with the heathens. So magistrates, by their mere existence, are a declaration of war against mankind, or what I call mankind, what they call the natives or the tribes. And so so the magistrate has to go to war with the heathen. Heathen comes from heathland, and citadel is in a city, and heathland is the forest. And so what happens is they've got a mandate from the chief moneylender, which is their god, which is the royalty, which is the king, to go and murder and commit genocide against, under statute, against the tribes, which are Eora, Dara, Gidabal, all those nations, right? Now, it's not me saying it. It's in the Westminster Confession of Faith. Now, we know what fraudulent impersonation, I'll read it again. If the representation is of the offender, is the person entitled by will or by operation of law to any specific property, and the person commits the offence with the intent to obtain such property or possession thereof, the person is guilty of a crime and is liable for imprisonment for 14 years. So Luke down in Victoria, where the bank came in, now the court is a bank, and the bank is an arm of the court, it's a creation of the court, and the bank came in under operation of law, under fraudulent, falsely representing himself, because they don't identify themselves. He commits the offence with the intent to obtain such property for the possession thereof. The person is guilty of crime for 15 years. Now, how could a corporation that has no referendum for its creation remove Section 184, fraudulent impersonation? When I said, I had the psychiatrist saying, Long Bay, you reckon that they took out Section 184 of the Crimes Act? Well, I spoke to two detectives in Liverpool Court and said the magistrate didn't identify himself and he's in breach of Section 184 of the Crimes Act, and that's an estoppel by conduct. And then the detective said, you'll need to speak to the chief magistrate about that. And so I started posting it on my last channel, and they took it out. They took out 50, 86, 65 to 85. They took out 20 of their fucking acts. All right. Now, you know what I've done here? So it's archi and tectus. Yeah, architectus. Yeah. So it's the syllables. So I put in archi, and you get citadel, and then I put in tectus, and to cover up. I'll put in us now. All right, so there we go. So now you can see the three syllables, architectus. Should say we, us, our, and nobis. Oh, I'm not connected. Hang on. I'll just get connect. Whenever I connect, this recording function seems to shit itself. Come on. Come on. Come on. Nothing. It's not giving me. But if I go to Latin English translator, it says we, us, our, and nobis. So anyway, now I mentioned the New South Wales Act where it says fraudulent impersonation, Section 1 of the Crimes Act has been removed, but you still got 5 on 4 in Queensland. The rights of residents in states are subject of the Queen, and residents in any state shall not be subject to any other state in any other state to any disability or discrimination which would not be equally applicable to him if he were subject to the Queen in residence in such other state. So basically, you can't have a rule that disables me in New South Wales, but that enables someone in Queensland. And similarly, you can't have an act in Queensland that protects me that has been removed in New South Wales, which disables me. And so then we go to Section 51 of the Constitution provides for a division of powers between federal and state governments, and the Constitution does not provide for local government. So the Local Governments Act in New South Wales, the state governments handed over all powers over to the federal, or the colonies did, and what the rules of the federal destroy the powers of the state. So your council rates, if they're charging you rates, they're claiming they own the property and they're renting it to you. because a rate is a tax, and you can only tax someone if you own it, or you control it. Now, I'll play this clip, and some people will like it, some people may not like it. Right? So, yeah, if you call them royal, you're empowering them. Call yourself royal. A man's eye, the essence of the Almighty Shepherd. Right? At least call yourself Roy. Because AL is their Saturnian god. Start calling them what they are. They're goyim. They're animals. They eat humans. They drink their blood. You know, if I go to history, true story, the Queen's cousin. No, that's not it. This ain't long. This won't take long. Where is it? Damn, here we go. 2 people banned from the UK for linking politicians' royal family to pedophilia. Right, and this is under Scotland Real News, right? And this is RT News. This isn't some back border, and this is an American journalist talking to another journalist on Russian television. So yeah, effectively, you've got Jersey is a sleepy island it's a tax haven off the coast of England, and there's kids going missing, they're getting raped, they're getting murdered, and because it's the private doing it to the public, because if you're civilly dead, you can't hear and see the language, you can't speak the language. Right, now, I'll just come down here for a sec, and this might take a few seconds, but I'll just go to some of the text I've put up. You might like it. You probably clocked off by now, but I'll put a bit of crap up. So that was Diana's car, by the way, completely intact. Right. So the whole cell is intact. You know, they reckon she died. You can go to my page. You can see all the photos. Anything good on here, I've downloaded it. Yeah, I shouldn't do this. L is Beth. So Beth is a house. L is God. And Isar. I had some good stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna end this clip. Here's the Constitution here. This is vaccination is civil conscription. So Section 53, 51, 20, subsection 23A, Australian Constitution forbids the Australian Government from providing medical and dental services in such a way that oblige parents to accept services and obligation that the Constitution and Kirby classified as civil conscription. Right? But they can't do it. They technically have with the driver's license, but they can't do it. It's all based on fraud. This is Raymond Bloomhall. This was taken down off Google after I mentioned it, off YouTube. But I've got copies, and I've sent copies to people. Yeah, just call them Goyim. Look up all the nasty words in Hebrew and use those words against them. Whenever you think about them, whenever you just think of the face and think of the word. I can't find it. I mean, this is a Tesla car, and it caught a light, and all the doors locked, everything locked. I mean, if it was a woman, she wouldn't have been able to kick away. Most women couldn't kick their way out of a car. and it's very hard. Even for I was surprised to hear that a guy kicked the window out because the glass in these windows a lot of time will take a strike from a steel bar. You need quite a heavy bar to shock the glass because of the laminate and it's tempered. And he kicked the glass out and got out because when the battery shits itself, it fries the electrics, and the locks aren't mechanical; they're electronic, they're electromechanical. So that's a 2-day old Tesla. This is the kind of craziness that we've got going on. Um, uh, you know, yeah, so you can scroll down my clip, and you'll see plenty of good stuff. But I had a fair bit of good text. Look, they're even telling you, right? 2025, right? What's this? A citizen of the United States is a civilly dead entity operating as co-trustee, co-beneficiary of public charitable trust. The Conservative Sesticate Trust of the United States Incorporated under the 14th Amendment, which upholds the debt of the United States of America and the United States Incorporated. So this is a registered company in the City of London. This is registered with Dun & Bradstreet in the United States. So this is the Bankruptcy Administration, and the corporation that is receiving the funds after these guys get it is the United Nations, right? And this is Congressional Record 1967. Right? A statute is not law. That's Floor v. First National. A code is not law. A concurrent or joint resolution of the legislature is not law. Black's law written legislation solemnly expressed according to the forms prescribed in the Constitution, act of legislator. So the Constitution is an act of legislator, so it's not law. The common law is the real law, the supreme law of the land. Rules and regulations, statutes are not laws, right? That's re self. People will go, well, that's American, you can't say that. Well, the United States of America is a commonwealth, and a commonwealth is a Christian commonwealth, and a commonwealth is a republic. And if you look up in Black's law, it says a commonwealth is a republican form of government. And if you look up commonwealth in Black's law, it says common or weal or welfare. So common means vulgar, weal or well means low, and fair means to tax. So commonwealth means vulgar, low, shall be taxed. And the common refers to the ability of one not to be able to read Latin, which means you can't read the true meaning of English, because then you can read the langue in the language. And therefore, if you can't read the langue in the language, then you're vulgar and common, and you're low, and you must be taxed. That's what commonwealth means. Common, low, and taxable. Vulgar, low, and taxable entity. That's what the word commonwealth means. So US Supreme Court decision, all codes and rules and regulations for government authorities only, not human creators, in accordance with God's law. Codes and rules and regulations are unconstitutional and lacking due process. Rodriguez v. Ray Donovan. Now, if you want the good oil, go to, I've probably got it here somewhere.
They always want the original thing. You're running back to the government in response to something,
This is, oh, come on. It's not. Look at this shit. It's just lagging. Okay, so the left side is the debtor, defendant, the trustee, and the agent. The right side is the creditor, prosecutor, grantor, and principal. And the centre is the judge, ecclesia, mendicant, and non-combatant. Mendicant is vow of poverty, and non-combatant is someone who doesn't use the surname. Because the surname is the surety name, is the debtor. And if you're a non-combatant, you're a mendicant. And the surety name is at employment or rank. All right, now I'll go to, this is a Eucadia. This one is Boris.
Control of the Northern English, wealthy English.
This is Boris, that North Eastern Conference, and this is Sovereign Living. So you want to go to Sovereign Living and find US border pigs, and you use the arguments from US border pigs to show that, what the fuck's that? To show that the district court here in New South Wales is a feudal. District means feudal land of the king, and district attorney, district court, district prosecutor only have jurisdiction, and this guy proved it in America. It's called Sovereign Living, US border pigs, and he proved at the border the Canadians pulled him over and pulled him up, and they said, we've got this written on your file, you're dangerous, you're a sovereign citizen. He goes, A, that's idiotic, because sovereign is a sole corporation, and citizen is an artificial person, and a sole corporation is a natural person. So I can't be both a natural person and an artificial person, because then I'd be the property of the natural person and be the natural person at the same time. So I'd be the slave and the master. And so then what you've got going on is, he said that's hearsay. Everything on your computer is fucking hearsay and not admissible as evidence in court. So if the cops watch a video or anything like that, it's all hearsay because they've seen it and now they're speaking it. So it's fucking hearsay. You have to have first-hand knowledge. And even more so today because all of the digitized, I mean, fucking all NASA's shit is fake, right? They've been doing it since the 60s. So all film is not trustworthy, right? All film is not trustworthy. Anyway, that's pretty much it. It's all fucking hearsay. The courts only have jurisdiction over the District of Columbia. The way they come out of the District of Columbia is through the birth certificate, and they're administrating the name, which is the only thing they've got jurisdiction over. And then, if you go scroll down my page, you'll find the word name. I'll find it. Name. Where's name? Maybe it might be here. Load, bitch, load. It's like this recording thing here didn't work. I got to reload it. There we go. So we'll go to name. Probably like no one watching the stage, but who cares? I'll do it anyway. So name, seeth to come from the Dutch word nemen. So it's a reflection of itself. Nem men. Carpio. It signifieth in our common law the taking or apprehending of another man's movable goods. So when you put a naam on it, a naam, N-I-A-M, naam, narium, right, which is the root of the word name, it basically means when you put a name on it, the king has the authority to come and take it. Lawful naam is nothing else but a reasonable I can't read it. Proportional to the value of the things. Distrain. Oh fuck! I can't read today. And this name is anciently called ether vi or mort, which means dead, quick, or dead, accordingly as it was made of dead or quick chattels. Well, chattel is a slave, and when you name something, it was the property of the slave, and then the king can come in and take it. Now, if you don't believe me, cover up the tar, the mark of the alpha, king. Taking is mark of the alpha king. So the king or apprehending of another man's movable goods. You can see there, they hide it. They hide the langue and the lex. Anyway, that's it. That's me done. So I'm just showing you that I've got a Facebook page up, but he can't see it. Here's my Facebook page. I can see it. I get posts from other people. There's that word. There's that word's meaning. There's the meaning of that word's meaning of that word. Then there's architect. Then we got architectus, builder. Then when you break it up, you get the citadel, keep away, protect from the citadel, and to hide. I changed it. Then you've got the Block and William Whitaker's two-way words, but you can just use Google to spin the words around and then go to William Whitaker's like I've showed you. Then you got 165 to 165. They've removed it. Then you go to criminal code, and that shows you they're committing impersonation. And then this one here shows you a subject of the Queen can't be disabled from one state to the other, so you can apply the because it's the laws of the Commonwealth. You can apply the statutes to them, but not to yourself because they're employees of the state. And then it says here, Section 51 provides that Australian Constitution does not provide for local government, so the council can't tax you with rates. And yeah, basically you've got the, I'll just do a quick search. council local council mayor. We'll go to images, and they buy themselves. They literally go out and buy themselves these necklaces that are worth like $22,000 solid gold. I can't see any here. Yeah, I'll just Lord Mayor, not salary. Dress, robe. So they literally go out. These wankers. This is an ecclesiastical position, right? They go out and buy these necklaces and these robes. This is all Freemasonry, right? This is all Freemasonry. This is a moneylender's order, right? Yeah, we'll do one more. No, we won't. I'll end it here. Otherwise, there's probably no one watching by now. But anyway, so there you go. I mean, the it's all magic. It's all spells and mirrors. I've got power. Look at her. She's loving it. It's all dressed up. It's fucking men wearing fucking women's clothes, right? That's all it is. I mean, look at this shit. Yeah, laces for women. You know, look at him. He's loving it. Yeah, look at me. He's got his tie. There's his collar like a good dog. There's his leash. There's his cuffs. Right. He's got his pants, dog pants. There's his coat. He's got a dog's coat, and they've got tails on these things. So there's his tail, and then he's got his shoes on. You know what I mean? They put the shoes on to break your earthing. Anyway, that's me done. I'm waffling too long.